Donald Trump signs a slew of executive orders on his first day back at the White House after being inaugurated as the 47th U.S. president.
US President Donald Trump says he will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin very soon under his new doctrine called Peace Through Strength.
Several people have died and dozens more have been hospitalized after a fire broke out at a ski resort in Turkey's Bolu province.
Donald Trump has returned to the White House. He was sworn in as the 47th U.S. president, succeeding Joe Biden, who defeated him 4 years ago in the 2020 presidential election. Trump's inauguration was slightly altered from standard protocol, with the swearing-in ceremony being held indoors due to bad weather. Business executives and foreign dignitaries, including heads of state, attended the event. And after taking the oath of office, the so-called Golden Age of America was in motion.
The Golden Age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
In keeping his campaign promises, the U.S. president wasted no time upon his return to the Oval Office. Trump signed a series of executive orders covering a range of topics from climate and energy to TikTok. But the one that stood out most was his full pardoning of perpetrators behind the January 6 Capitol Hill riots.
Yes, sir. First, we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th, and these are the hostages? Approximately 1,500 for a pardon? Yes. Full pardon?
The U.S. president also signed an order instating 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting on the 1st of February. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Trump on his inauguration.
Мы видим заявление вновь избранного президента США и членов его команды о желании восстановить прямые контакты с Россией, прерванные не по нашей вине уходящей администрации.
Trump promised in his campaign trail to end the ongoing war in Ukraine on his first day in office. He's since retracted that claim, instead offering what he called a more realistic 6-month timeline to achieve that objective.
At a speech during the Commander-in-Chief inaugural ball, US President Donald Trump said the US would achieve peace through strength, an expression he used in his inauguration speech. Trump said he would meet Russian President Vladimir Putin very soon and said Putin was destroying Russia by refusing to negotiate a ceasefire with Ukraine. However, details on how Trump would broker a peace deal between Moscow and Kiev remains to be scarce.
We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. It's called peace through strength. We won't have to fight the war.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on social media that peace through strength policy would actually provide an opportunity to strengthen American leadership and achieve a long-term and just peace. When asked if Trump thought Israel and Hamas would maintain the ceasefire deal, which days earlier Trump claimed credit for, he said he is not confident that it will last. Trump also reversed sanctions on Israeli settler groups accused of violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank with an executive order.
Your country first, win with us. With this sign across the facade on Ukraine House in Davos, Kyiv seems to be sending a strong message to one single person, the President of the United States, Donald Trump. While politicians and business leaders here are trying to figure out what would his second term in the White House mean for political, economic and trade cooperation with the United States, for Ukraine the stakes are as high as they can get, as Russia's full-scale invasion is nearing the 3-year mark.
The first day of the Davos week felt like the calm before the storm as the world's attentions drawn to Washington and the inauguration ceremony. Ukraine House in Davos organized a watch party with the live stream from Washington.
What are your expectations from the old new president of the United States?
So we're excited. I think this real buzz of excitement, and we just put out a brand new survey this morning. So 77% of American business in Ukraine is very excited, our members. Over 60% are forecasting a ceasefire in 2025. So we expect a ceasefire this year in 2025. And we look forward to working with the new administration. The new administration where so many are from business and are pro-business.
Europeans seem to be more cautious about Trump's second term than Ukrainians are.
I think what Ukrainians have shown and what they've seen is this resilience is phenomenal. Many people in America, in the American government 3 years ago were saying that Ukraine at Kyiv would fall within 3 days. Here we are, 3 years on. Ukraine stands, Kyiv stands, and business stands united with Ukraine. And I think those are the messages we want to get across, and that's where the optimism comes from. I think it's showing that Ukraine is open for business, that Ukrainians are showing phenomenal results on the front line defending the country, and they continue to do so today.
During his 2024 presidential campaign, Donald Trump repeatedly said that he could put an end to Russia's war against Ukraine in 24 hours. In a rather harsh reality check, Trump later said that a 6-month timeline for ending the war was more realistic. What matters for Ukraine, though, is not how fast it'll be, but on what conditions. The families of the 3 released Israeli hostages delivered a joint statement expressing their gratitude to all parties involved in securing their return. Romy Gonen, Emily Damari, and Doron Steinbrecher were the first 3 hostages released by Hamas after a ceasefire deal with Israel went into effect on Sunday.
היום דורון איתנו בבית, דורונה כאן, אנחנו עדיין מעכלים, מנסים להתמודד.
I'm delighted to be able to tell you that Emily is in high spirits on the road to recovery.
אנחנו שמחים להגיד סוף סוף שרומי היא חתל"שית.
The 3 women, ranging between 24 and 31 years of age, spent 15 months under Hamas captivity in Gaza after being captured in the group's October 7, 2023 attack on southern Israel. The family members thanked their government for finally moving forward with a deal that facilitates the release of hostages, as well as mediators Qatar and Egypt. They also had lots of gratitude to U.S. presidents involved in the deal, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, particularly the latter.
הגענו לרגע הזה אחרי יותר מדי זמן, וללא מעורבותו של טראמפ זה לא היה קורה.
רצינו להגיד גם תודה לנשיא ארצות הברית הנכנס, מר דונלד טראמפ, שבזכות עמידתו האמיצה לצד ישראל, תוך חיזוק הטוב האנושי.
The families say the young women are doing well, noting that it will be a long road to recovery. They've urged the families of all hostages still under captivity to continue protesting to ensure the government fully implements the deal and all hostages are released.
Several people have died and dozens more have been hospitalized after a fire broke out at a ski resort in Turkey's Bolu province. The blaze started on the restaurant floor of the 12-story resort before it quickly spread throughout the building. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but local media suggested that the wooden cladding on the exterior of the hotel may have accelerated the spread of the fire. They added that the hotel is on the side of a cliff, hampering efforts to combat the flames. 2 of the victims died after jumping from the building in a panic, according to Bolu's governor. The fire occurred during the school semester break when many skiers from Istanbul and Ankara head to the Bolu Mountains. Other hotels at the resort were evacuated as a precaution, and guests were placed in hotels around Bolu.
Bisphenol A is now fully banned from coming into contact with food products. As of Monday, the European Union has prohibited the use of this endocrine disruptor in food containers. This chemical, commonly found in cans, food storage containers, and water bottles, can contaminate food products.
Bisphenol A has been listed as a substance of very high concern under REACH, the EU chemical legislation, the EU flagship chemical legislation, since 2006 for its properties as toxic for reproduction and for its endocrine disrupting properties for human health since 2017. So these are the main concerns about bisphenol A. And bisphenol A is associated to health concerns such as breast cancer, neurobehavioral disorders, and diabetes.
The European Union is a pioneer in banning bisphenols. However, this prohibition is the result of a long scientific and political process considered too lengthy by NGOs.
It has been a long-awaited decision. Scientists have been calling for the ban of bisphenols for more than a decade. There's been a report on bisphenol and the concern about bisphenols from the European Environment Agency more than a decade ago. So it's been a long process, and we're hoping now that the follow-up decisions and steps for the use of bisphenols in other consumer products will come quickly.
The NGO hopes the European Union will agree to broaden the ban on bisphenol A, with the next potential target being children's toys.